When it's time to scale your business, it's time for Shopify. Get everything you need to grow the way you want. Like, all the way. Stack more sales with the best converting checkout on the planet. Track your cha-chings from every channel, right in one spot. And turn real-time reporting into big-time opportunities. Take your business to a whole new level. Switch to Shopify. Start your free trial today.
The Partial Breakaway Podcast with your hosts Nick and Junior and producer Vince, bringing you elite fantasy hockey information to help you win your fantasy leagues and win at life.
Episode 149 of the Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey Podcast. I'm co-host Junior, accompanied as usual by co-host Nick and producer Vince on this beautiful Sunday, March 1st, 2027. How are we feeling, guys?
We're feeling like a celebration. Nick, you have your speed already?
Oh. We're going streaking.
We're going streaking. 202. We asked, and
Where's
the
applause,
listeners.
Nick?
Yeah, we asked, and the listeners. Look at that, and the listeners came through for us. Yeah, baby.
As if you didn't know before, people listen.
202 people listen.
Yeah. Now the road to 300 starts.
Yeah.
The really, really long road to 300.
Yeah.
No, I hear it just compounds. It's like compound interest. It just keeps going faster and faster the way we keep going. So maybe that's a good thing.
Nice.
Look at you banking their language.
One thing, though, is that 90% of our listeners are actually new. So for those of you that don't know who we are Partial Breakaway Fantasy Hockey Podcast. We focus on cap leagues. We focus on dynasty leagues. We focus on salary. I said that already, but yeah, we focus on a lot of things fantasy hockey related. So glad you're here joining us on the ride. Please hit the follow, like, and subscribe. And you can find us on all our socials, X, Twitter, which is X, TikTok, Instagram.
Nick is on fire.
And
Nick, Partial Break Pod.
And Nick can't keep his focus.
Stressing.
We focus on
Speedo he needs to wear.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm worried about the Speedo, guys. I'm worried about the shrinkage that might occur.
Or the freezing, either or.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
Well, we have a few things that we're talking about today. Junior, you want to lead us off?
Sure. We have our usual odd man rush, which is going to touch on a bit of everything. The rookie showdown that's going on, some injuries, key returnees, some young guys coming out of nowhere to having a relatively good season. It's pretty jam-packed. We're going to save the trade talk and trade deadline talk for our Fantasy Lens episode that's going to air Wednesday. And then we have our PBLL update. It was our first week back since the Olympic break, and it was pretty fun, pretty interesting.
All right. Without further ado,
let's go.
All right, this is the Odd Man Rush episode where I will be your host for this evening. And we will be speaking to you about quite a few notes and trends around the NHL. This is supposed to take about 30 seconds each take from each of our hosts, but it usually lasts about 3.5 minutes. Mostly the extra half minute that I added there is Junior, but, sometimes Vince needs to research information last minute because he's not there during the prod meeting. This segment is sponsored to you. This segment is sponsored to you by Sportera. Visit their website at www.sportera.com for all your apparel and team uniform needs, or follow them on Instagram as well at sportira.apparel. All right, guys. So I really want to talk to you about this because I think that we all pretty much watched this game, and I want to throw it out there right off the bat. Schaefer versus Dobson.
Wow.
Tuesday night in Montreal. It was like, I don't know, Tyson Holyfield. It was the battle of the ages. What did you guys think about this head to head of the guy that got traded away from the Islanders and the new guy that replaced him?
I think that scene was giving Vince adrenaline to bench like 200 pounds on Tuesday. I don't know about you, Nick. Huh?
We gotta get our trainer on this. So he's been training us, making us look better for our podcast. That's the only reason we do this, because YouTube pretty much has 3 skinny dudes on the tele here. So we got Frankie training us, and Vince so far has been killing it.
Beast.
Yeah, been sore out of my mind, but yeah. But the defensemen, listen, Dobson, we all knew Dobson had talent. We always knew he had an off year last year, but we knew the talent was there. Just my only question is, when Islanders traded Dobson, did they already know they were did they already know they were drafting first overall?
Yes, it was at the.
Yes,
it was at
okay.
The,
So basically, that's what made the trade easier for Islanders to make. I don't think if they didn't have that first overall pick, I don't think Dobson trade would have happened. And I think it's a trade that worked out for both teams. I mean, Schaefer's just a phenom. People are starting to compare him to the top 4 or 5 defensemen. He just scored again today. In the NHL already at the age he's at 18 years old. What he's doing is incredible, and Dobson just brought so much stability to the Montreal defense, and that second option of offense where Matheson last year struggled with. So I think it's a win-win situation. It was phenomenal that they both had 2 goals when they played against each other on when was it, Tuesday night or Thursday? Tuesday night. So I think this is a trade that worked for both teams, and but Schaefer is just he's starting to show like he's going to be out of this world.
Yeah, I mean, considering the role Dobson is playing with the Canadiens, he could have equally have played that role with the Islanders, not being the top guy, right? Hudson's the top guy offensively. Dobson now is in a support role in terms of offense. That would have been the same thing with the Islanders. I think at the end of the day, there was something not going right between him and Patrick Roy and the staff. And before things got too sour, they decided to cut ties. And again, it works out for both teams. They got a haul in return. Don't forget, they got 2 first-round picks that led to Keyshawn Aitchison and is it Victor Eklund or William Eklund?
Aitchison is killing it right now.
Eklund,
so and they got Emil Heineman, who came out on fire, but he's a good role player to have. So they didn't get nothing in return for Dobson, and that worked out really good for them. But yeah, Schaefer is on an unbelievable pace. 19 goals. Are you kidding me? 59 games into the season, he's at 19 goals as a rookie defenseman. I didn't expect him to be this good, let alone be among record-breaking statistics. Actually, guys, I came across this on X today. Steve Dangle on their podcast, he asked, or his friend there next to him, I forget his name, if
Adam
you were
Wild
starting,
or...
I think it was Adam Wild. If you're starting a franchise right now, and let's turn this into a fantasy take. If you're starting a franchise for your fantasy hockey team right now in a dynasty league, it's your pick. You got to pick between Schaefer and Lane Hudson. Who are you picking?
Schaefer.
I'm picking Schaefer.
Just
see how fast that changed, though.
Yeah,
I wish I could see it from Schaefer from 2 consecutive seasons to see what it's like next year. But man, is that hard to pass up in a draft?
Well,
it's really hard to pass up 19 goals in 60 games.
Well, that's exactly it. Like Hudson puts up points. He definitely puts up points. Nobody's arguing that. He's top 5 in the NHL for defenseman scoring this year. But Schaefer is putting up points and goals. Yeah. So, as a fantasy GM, most fantasy leagues value goals a little bit more than just random assists. And that's why I say Schaefer takes the foot forward. He takes a step forward over Lane Hudson there. Also, just to bring it back to Dobson for 2 seconds, he's on pace for 56 points so far this year. I can't speak tonight. I think it's because both my kids were sick and I'm getting congested here as well. But he's also on a hot streak, 9 points in his last 7 games. So if you weren't aware, Dobson is still killing it for Montreal as well. So
And
great trade for both teams.
He got robbed by Charlie Lindgren on Saturday night. Glove save, empty net, beautiful.
Bing. We have no bell.
Yeah, your clearing of your throat was the bell.
There you go. See? Want me to do it again?
Let me clear my throat.
All right, guys. Sticking to young guys, Sennecke reminded everybody this week he is not to be forgotten for the Calder race. So this is interesting because it's. I'm going to start with Junior here because in Lama I'm trading away McKinnon, and one of my asks was for Sennecke, and according to Junior, who's not alone, he's a co-GM of this with listener Umni. He basically said Sennecke is untouchable. So, talk to me a little bit about Sennecke, and why do you think he's better than Nathan McKinnon?
The way Nick turns words around, huh?
The context that Nick is lacking here is that
I'm a wordsmith, my friend. I'm a wordsmith.
Is that we are very tight against the cap, and we can use all the ELC contracts we can have going forward. And acquiring Nathan McKinnon is $12.6 million more. But no, just to like focus on Sennecke a bit, it's just I'm still not 100% convinced of how good he can be, but it's hard to pass up on a guy that's proving to be pretty good. He's on pace for 67 points in his first season in the NHL. And you know what? Like I was telling you, Nick, in the negotiations, he fell on our lap because he was such a surprise pick at 3. Nobody trusted him. We ended up picking him. I think it was 9th or 10th pick in our draft. So literally 8 players or 9 players went before him. We were at a point where we like, okay, we can't not take this guy at this point. Let's see what it takes, what we get, and looks like we struck gold. But he's super impressive, man.
Absolutely.
That assist on Kreider's overtime goal was beautiful too. Toe drag.
When he was drafted, it was a huge surprise. He was drafted out of nowhere from Anaheim, third overall. It almost reminded you of when Montreal drafted KK third overall, and how shocking that was. Now, obviously, it's working out better for Anaheim than it worked out for Montreal with KK. But the thing with Sennecke is that he's leading the rookies in scoring this year with 48 points. He's almost at that 50-point threshold. Remember what we said at the beginning of the season? If a rookie can hit 50 points, it's a very good season for them. So, I mean, and he's playing with a team that's playing a bit free. Like they get scored a lot against, but they score a lot of goals also, which is also helping him develop and helping his stats. So it's going to be interesting, but I'm surprised he's this good this quickly, because he was one of the guys that when they got drafted, people were questioning Anaheim, why would you draft this guy third overall? So it's
just to give you guys some context. I mean, he's on pace for 67 points this year. He has a 14% shooting percentage, which is not out of this world. It's not like unsustainable. 19 goals, like in 59 games. The kid still has 22 games left, 23 games left, and he could easily hit 25 goals. Like it's quite impressive.
I think Vince made a good point. The reason, because it was such a shock, you would think that it's a long-term project, and nobody expected him to be this good this fast. And look, it'll be interesting to play out to see how it plays out.
I wanted to bring this out because I follow hockey prospecting a lot, right? And the website Hockey Prospecting had Sennecke at I don't have it open in front of me, but I think it was in the low 30% chance of being a star, and then this year jumped to 96% chance of being a star.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's
like,
a huge jump for that website.
it's a little bit ridiculous, right? It's an absolute outlier of how good this kid has actually been, and where his projection wasn't that good to begin with. And I have another one that I'm going to just bring out right away because I think it's a great segue. Is that we're talking about Sennecke. Another surprise this year has been Ben Kindle. Right? Ben Kindle has been one of those guys that everybody literally, including me, by the way, made fun of Kyle Dubas and the Pittsburgh Penguins for drafting this guy, and he has been absolutely killing it. He went 11th overall in the 2025 draft. The guy is 18 years old, right? And right now, if you look at projections from Watch the Stats created by Nick Iokoban, Benjamin Kindle is 85% chance of being a top liner. And his tweet out here said, Ben Kindle added 2 assists to an already impressive rookie stat line this afternoon, which is the day we're recording, which is the day March 1st, Sunday. Most Pens fans wanted to tank to find a 1C to eventually replace Crosby. And the longer Kindle keeps playing like this, the more I feel like they already found that replacement.
Wow.
Right? Like a top line, first line player in Benjamin Kindle. We've spoken about him a couple times before. I don't want to belabor the point, but are we talking about a possible first line player found 11th overall?
Yeah,
You could, you could, but he's got what, 29 points?
29 points in 56 games. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's still some work to be done to claim that he's. If we're questioning Sennecke still being a top 6 forward, and he's got 48 points. With Kendall,
Well, Sennecke is 22 years older, right? He's not 18
yeah,
years old.
no, I know, but it's still the way we're looking at it is I'm going with the points wise, is that we're still looking. He's on his route. He's en route to be a top 6 player, but he has to keep it up, and we got to see where Pittsburgh's going with this, right? Like you said, Pittsburgh thought they were going into a rebuilding mode or retooling, and all of a sudden they're there in a playoff spot, and this kid is helping them get there. So he potentially could be their number 1 centerman, but I wouldn't be surprised either if he could be a really good number 2 centerman for them also. So at that age, is still very young, and it's still to me it's still let's wait and see. But he's impressed this year. For everybody thought they were going to keep him the 9 games and then send him back to the juniors, but he took his chance, took his opportunity, and he's not letting go of it, which it shows great maturity and character for an 18-year-old.
Yeah, 15 goals, right? Out of
Yeah.
Sennecke is 19 goals. This guy's 15 goals.
And we touched on it last year when there was the break for the Four Nations, and how we said it helped players like Lane Hudson and all these younger Calder nominees, if you will, stay stronger throughout the whole year instead of hitting that wall. And I think this Olympic break kind of did the same for this crop, whereas Kindle, had a good week this week in terms of production. The same with Sennecke, the same with Schaefer, a little less for Demidov so far. But what I want to say for Kindle and Pittsburgh is I think it's more about the process with Kindle in that situation. I don't think they're forcing him into giving him too much responsibilities too soon, and he's excelling. So that's very promising. He's only playing 15 minutes a game, 15 and a half, if you will, a game, compared to the 17 of Sennecke and the 24 of Schaefer. And Demidov also has about 15 minutes. So if you want to compare to other rookies this year. So, it's pretty impressive. And, oftentimes I feel more comfortable with a team taking the slow and developmental approach to a rookie than to, let's say, the Ducks, who threw Sennecke in the fire and he went off. Like, I have a feeling maybe Sennecke might hit a sophomore wall next year just because this happened so fast, unexpectedly, Whereas Kindle, I just see him progressing next year.
Well, talking about Demidov, he's only had 2 goals in his last 17 games. I understand that Vince called him a bust.
Yeah, really. I own him in all my leagues. I don't think I would call him a bust. No, but the Demidov is, like Junior said, I think he hit a bit of a wall right now. He came from the KHL. They don't play as many games. He's not getting those important minutes either because Montreal is in the middle of a playoff fight. So I think they're being very careful with his minutes. But I mean, 3 points to 50. To me, that's the key as a rookie. If you can hit that 50-point mark as a rookie, you've had a good season. Doesn't matter if you hit it in, 82 games or in 75 games or 70 games. As long as you hit that 50-point mark, it's a very successful rookie season to me.
Yeah, there's no panic. Just like with all the other rookies, there's no panic. Within that same stretch, I think he has like 12 assists. So it's not like he's not producing at all, right? But yeah, you want to see more goals from him. You want to see him take more shots on goal. And you'll notice these young guys, it's streakiness, because the hardest thing and the longest thing to get and to learn is consistency. We saw it with Slavkovsky here in Montreal. It's finally coming around. Consistency is the hardest trait to achieve, and it's understandable that these rookies go through their ups and downs in a season.
All right. Let's do some different news here. So, enough about the young guys. LA fires their coach, Jim Hiller, and DJ Smith is the interim head coach. Junior, do we see any change in tactics, or do you think there's an LA bump coming with this change in leadership over in LA? More so, or is it just the Panarin effect?
I think the Panarin, you got to rely on the Panarin effect. DJ Smith was already there, I believe, as an assistant coach. So
yeah.
I don't think that much is going to change, not this late into the season where they're fighting for a playoff spot. You might see some maybe line combinations up and down, but the guys that are leading this team are going to keep leading this team. Kempe, Panarin. Kopitar, yeah, to a certain extent. But, Byfield's been pretty good lately, yeah. Byfield. Yeah, you're hoping that Byfield, he's the guy that gets the most out of this, but again, I'm not sure. I would just, for me, it's like status quo. It's like they didn't fire anybody.
Yeah, I think LA is just looking for a boost. They see that it wasn't working with Hiller as coach, and like Joey said, they're in the playoff run. They're tied with 3 other teams at 62 points and they're I think 3 points away or 2 points away from the last wild card spot, from what I could see. Just gotta make sure. Yeah, Seattle's at 65, and San Jose, Nashville, and LA Kings are at 62. So I think they're just gonna see if this change of coaching can give them a new life just to make the playoffs. Unfortunately, they lost Drew Doughty again, if I'm not mistaken. He went down with an injury, and the Fiala injury I think is hurting a team that's already having a hard time scoring. And Panarin, I don't think none of us expected Panarin to go in LA and start lighting it up right away. I think it'll take him a few weeks. Oh, look at that.
Yeah. And I think he has. He pretty much has.
Lighting it up?
Yeah.
Well, there was one game, I think they only scored 1 goal, but the game before that, he might have had 2 or 3 points.
Yeah.
His first game, he stood out.
Yeah, exactly. So I still think this is a move to try to push the team to a playoff spot. And DJ Smith is a veteran. He's been coaching for a while. He's been a head coach already in the NHL. So system-wise, I think he might change a bit of things, but I don't think he would reinvent the wheel here with only 22 games left.
Yeah, so Panarin has 4 points in his last 4 games, and he's actually playing with, it looks like Alexis Lafreniere.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet, and the not-so-secret secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
And
Lafreniere.
no, Lafreniere, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and maybe Kopitar and Kempe. I don't know.
Guys, this just in. Matthew Schaefer is now at 20 goals. He added a goal and an assist here in this game that is still not over.
Yeah.
You sure he's at 20? He already had a goal today.
He got another goal. The game's not over. They're in the
He got
third
another
period.
goal. They're still
He has 2 goals.
Yeah, he has a game-winning goal right now as it stands.
He's got more goals than actually years on this earth. Look at him.
He has more goals than Sennecke, and Senneke's a forward.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got more goals than a lot of people.
Yeah. Talking about, you mentioned already Doughty left the game, did not return. I'll just run through some names here. Mark Stone left the game versus Pittsburgh, did not return. By the way, Vegas, I'm starting to think that they have a goaltending problem because, they're not just playing well. That's just what it is. So Mark Stone left the game. Mikko Rantanen, I don't know if we mentioned it last episode, but he's going to likely miss all of March. Eriksson Ek left the game, did not return. Guys that came back or are about to come back are guys like Luke Hughes, Seth Jones. They're about to come back. Josh Morrissey looks like he's coming back as well. Braden Point did come back. And Braden Point looks like his usual self since returning from injury. He has been absolutely killing it since coming back. Guys, you guys want to talk about any of these guys that are leaving or coming back? Anybody here stand out to you as, obviously they're all fantasy relevant, but anything that's interesting to talk about?
Junior?
Braden Point has 9 points in his last 5 games. Since the break, he's got 5 points in 3 games. I think Braden Point can be a buy low candidate if you don't wait too long. He was
league
already
winner if you traded for him.
If you traded for him, he's definitely going to be a league winner. It's funny how like players that we're so accustomed to seeing do so well, the second they have an off year, it's like, it's the beginning of their demise or something,
Yeah.
But you don't have to think that drastic. And those who don't usually capitalize on the opportunity and go acquire them at a much lower cost.
But what the Eriksson Ek is going to interest me because Minnesota is already very thin down the middle. So I wonder how they're gonna replace and how long Eriksson Ek is out for. I mean, they're very, very thin at centermans with Minnesota, and they want to make that playoff run. Like they want to make a run in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that injury, how serious. I think most of these injuries would be Mark Stone is Mark Stone. We all know he's going to get injured during the season, and he'll come back and he'll do what he does every year. But can all these injuries make it that the trade deadline becomes a bit more erratic now and more active of teams looking for players to replace all these injuries? So that'd be something interesting that we'll probably talk about in the fantasy lens.
Actually, it's not on our prod sheet, but it probably should have been for this purpose. Tyler Seguin was officially entered as not coming back this season for the Dallas Stars, which is going to clear like $9 million in cap space for them.
Yeah.
And Nick, you're right. We did mention Rantanen last week, but that was supposed to be a 2-week absence. Now the talk is 4 weeks. So that changes a lot of things for the Dallas Stars. The one thing that, it's been 84 years. I feel like we've been talking about this debate, but Luke Hughes coming back. Hamilton has 2 goals in his last 3 games since the break. He's been doing pretty well lately. What does this mean? What's the dynamic like going to be in New Jersey on the back end? So that's definitely something to keep an eye on for next week.
Yeah, and I wonder if Hamilton has done enough for other teams to maybe trade for him, because maybe New Jersey should be one of those sellers. We'll talk about that next episode, though.
Oh, baby.
I want to talk to you guys about, you mentioned buy low, right? So I went out in my family league. So this is a league where I have me and my cousins and some other friends of his and whatever. There's a 16-team league. And he basically, in that league, I traded for Brennan Point, who was having a bad year. So I bought low on Brennan Point. I feel like I bought low anyways. And I traded for Elias Pettersson, who as well, it was a buy low move. Braden
It's a
Point looks
keeper.
like
It's a keeper league, Nick.
keep 12. It's a starting roster of like 16, and you keep 12. And then you have a bench of another like 7, 8 spots, whatever.
Okay.
Elias Pettersson, though, doesn't look like I bought low because he's getting even lower. You thought the bottom kind of was stabilized there, but he seems to be going to the fourth line and didn't play a single shift the last 10 minutes of Vancouver's 5-1 loss to Seattle. So I was just talking to listener Peter about this from Project Llama, and he was basically telling me like I can't sell him because I'm selling him at an all-time low. I wouldn't be confident buying him if I didn't already own him. You just got to ride the wave. He's the albatross. You got to ride the wave, and it's going to hurt. It's $11 million down the drain, but there's nothing else I could do. Like, how do you guys feel? 11.5, sorry. Let's add the 0.5 there just to rub it in his face because he listens. What else can you do? Did he just lose the love of the game or what's going on here?
I feel this could be. I hope it's not, but I feel like this could be going down the same alley as Patrick Laney from Montreal, meaning that he had so much potential and had such great seasons, and then something happened, and yes, there were some injuries, but even before the injuries, he started taking a dip down, and he couldn't get back to that superstar level. And I think with Pettersson, that's what's happening right now. I also believe he needs a change of scenery, and it will happen. I mean, there's no reason Vancouver should be holding on to him right now. I mean, they should be in a full rebuild right now. So whatever they can get for Pettersson, I think they should be taking it. But that's where we're gonna find out where the real Pettersson is that when he gets this change of scenery, will he be back to the guy who can get 80 points in the season, or is he gonna still be this guy at 50 to 60 points a season? So it's gonna be very interesting to see and debate if he gets that change of scenery.
It sure is looking like that 102-point season was an outlier. I mean, change of scenery or not, I don't know if he's going to get back to 100 points. Yeah, I think it comes down to that. The difference, I think, between Laine and Pettersson is that Laine is also a one-trick pony in the sense that, like, he's absolutely not reliable in the back end. But he's a machine offensively, whereas Pettersson can play both ways. But it's just, I don't know what's going on with Elias Pettersson, but if the change of scenery won't work, then they're in trouble. But, how do you trade him when his value is at his lowest? But do you keep waiting till he has no value? That's an interesting debate to have for the Vancouver Canucks. But the Detroit Red, whoever's interested in Robert Thomas this year, maybe Elias Pettersson is a little bit cheaper. Maybe if you don't get him, you go after an Elias Pettersson. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. You could tell that it's approaching trade deadline. We're all excited to talk about trades.
Yeah, and then nothing happens.
Yeah.
Sherwood gets traded again.
I remember being in high school and skipping class just to watch NHL trade deadline. It's nuts.
Yeah, but there used to be 30 to 40 trades at deadline.
Yeah, and they were all coming in 3 hours before the actual start of the day. Everybody's leaking everything. Talking about leaks, Kent Johnson's pretty leaky.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. I was trying to find a nice segue there, but it wasn't working.
It's pretty good.
We'll give you A for effort, Nick.
A for effort. Kent Johnson, his points leaked because he's a healthy scratch. So I don't know what happened to this guy. It's like a fall from grace, but Kent Johnson, a healthy scratch. Voronkov, 9 minutes or less in the last 7 games played, and like I don't know. Now we're getting to the point where Columbus was looking like they were coming back. I'm not sure what's going on anymore. Junior, do you mind shedding some light as a Kent Johnson owner,
Uh,
or used to be owner because you sold him?
yeah, I did trade him. I didn't like the deployment this year at all. I didn't think they were going to fire the coach, but when they hired who's their coach now? Bonus, right?
Yeah.
He's the new coach. In his first 2 games in the bonus, he was fire, and then couldn't keep it up. And now, bonus did come out and say, "Look, this is a temporary thing. He's still a big part of the future of this team, but sometimes it helps to have a look from up top instead of in game." So we'll see where this goes. But everyone thought that was just going to be one game. It looks like he's going to be a healthy scratch for a second consecutive game. It's interesting. I started asking, like, I love Ken Johnson. I absolutely love Ken Johnson.
He was your crush, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was my crush. I think I still think he could be a point per game player if he figures this out. He's still young, but I did trade him because I'm trying to win. And who did I acquire with listener Bamia? Josh Norris. Yeah, I went to get Josh Norris for Ken Johnson.
I think we're gonna find out if last year's 57 points in 68 games was who he could be, or is it just an outlier? And I think this is the problem right now, is that with Ken Johnson, it's very inconsistent. And when we mean inconsistent, he could be like, he could have such high highs, but then he's got the lows of the lows. Like, there's no in between right now when it comes to his game. And I think that's what's hurting him. He's 23, he's still young, but it's 260 games, I think he's got approximately in the NHL. So it's coming to that games played where he needs to figure it out, and Columbus needs to figure out if he's still in their future. And getting traded at such a young, if he gets traded, or even any player gets traded at the age of 23, 24, it's very hard, because then the pressure is on, because you could be one of those guys that are just going to be journeymans all your career. And I mean, he's got the potential and the talent. Now, what's holding him back? I mean, if we had the press passes, we would know. But right now, we don't have that. So we don't know. We just know that being scratched one game, it's a lesson. Being scratched 2 games in a row, yeah, it might be something deeper.
Just to touch on Voronkov, Nick, also is I own Voronkov, and what I learned from Voronkov in the first 2 years of his career was that this guy comes out of the gate flying, and then he completely crashes in the second half of the season. This year, it's a little bit different because he's kind of up and down throughout the year, but he's still pacing for 45 points. I think if anyone has high hopes for Voronkov, he's going to live around the 50-point mark. I don't think you need to expect him to be, you shouldn't expect him to hit the 60, 70 or plus. That's definitely not who Voronkov will be, Columbus or not.
All right, guys. Well, there's a couple more things that I want to touch on before we end it. We're hitting the 36-minute mark of the episode. There was a couple of interesting tweets that I saw that might be of interest to our listeners. There was Money Puck that sent out a tweet regarding goal save above expected and who the leaders are this season. And I think it was on the last 10 games, over the last 10 games. So this is going to tell you who's hot right now and who's actually killing it. Alex Lyon, over the last 10 games, goals saved above expected, 12.2. Only 22 goals against. Ilya Sorokin is right there, second place. Igor Shesterkin, Logan Thompson, Lucas Dostal, Stuart Skinner, Jonas Korpisalo, freaking guy still in the NHL. Devin Cooley, John Gibson, Anton Forsberg, Jeremy Swayman, Samuel Montembeau, Dustin Wolf, Vasilevsky, Vijmalka, Eric Comrie. So, anyways, not to bore everybody, but how surprising is it to see Alex Lyon on top there? Buffalo's been surging lately, right?
Yeah, but Buffalo, sorry, Buffalo's been surging because the reason is because they've been getting some goaltending, and Lyon is one of the guys. I mean, he's been doing it year after year as a backup or as a replacement to an injured goalie on the team. I mean, I think with Detroit, he had a few good seasons with Detroit also, so it's not surprising. I still don't think he's a number one goalie in the NHL where he can play over 50 games, but it's I mean, Buffalo is where they are because a big part because of Lions' performance in net.
I think it's also surprising to see Shesterkin still up there, even though the New York Rangers are an absolute tire fire.
Yeah, it's because they don't score. They don't score, but he still does his job.
Yeah.
Prior to being injured, he was stellar. But Lucas Dostal, who's had an up and down season, seems to be coming off the Olympic break. He seems to be picking it up. So that's going to be a player to watch down the stretch here. How good can he be? And but in terms of a consistency type thing, I have to say John Gibson has really won me over. I was out on him for since 2 years now, or if not more. I was like, don't even trade for this guy. It's not worth it. It's over. And
imagine if Edmonton traded for him instead of Jarry.
Yeah, well, look, Edmonton's going to go trade for Binnington now because, they like to fix a mistake with another one.
It's been bad, though, with Jarry. It's been bad.
Yeah. And Ingram, too, has slowed down. He started off hot, but...
You know who's actually heating it up? He's really starting to get hot. 4 points in his last 3 games. Scored a beauty OT winner, 1-2 tonight. And that is Michael Misa. Michael Misa from the San Jose Sharks is pacing for 47 points. He's only played 21 games, and he's only playing 12 minutes of ice time average per game. Like Patrick Bacon, who does top-down hockey, by the way. That's a little bit disgusting. And he literally says, how long until Misa is known as the second-best player in San Jose? I say he gets there up to next season. So, it's interesting because we paid a hefty price to draft him in DPR league, right? And I was starting to get a little bit squeamish about it.
If you're someone who's in a dynasty league, there's so much talk right now about Celebrini, that Misa has been forgotten. Now's the time to approach the GM that owns Michael Misa and try to get him at maybe a little less than it might have cost you, let's say, next year. I'm on board with I don't want to... What's his first name? I don't want to just call him Bacon. Patrick. I'm on board with Patrick Bacon. I think next year he's gonna stand out. You're gonna see a leap from him that's gonna show you that he's gonna be the second best player on that team in no time.
Yeah, I agree.
That's taking nothing away from Will Smith, by the way. Nothing at all. Will Smith is great. But
injuries hurt him this year. I mean, like we said, 12 points in 21 games. I'm pretty sure if the injury bug wasn't going to hit, he would be close to that. After 82 games, he would be close to that 50-point mark that we're looking for a rookie. So, I mean, I think he's slowly he's coming back from injuries, but you see the talent is there and why people were praising him to be the number one fantasy player to be drafted last year. So, I mean, next year, I still have that whole, sophomore bump year that people could hit, but we'll see. But he definitely has the talent to do it. And Will Smith, second best player on San Jose. I don't know. I still really like Will Smith.
I don't think anybody doesn't like Will Smith. I just thought it's interesting that it's been going this well.
No, what happened there?
Once an episode, you got to knock that thing down. Once an episode. All right, Junior, if... did you... Sorry.
What's up?
I'm going to check something here.
There's no update on the sheet, on the script.
Okay, cool. All right.
It's the same.
So let's just do a small word from our sponsor here. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props and live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code XX,
Mhm.
THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 8777 HOPE 8 HOPE NY or text HOPE NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states, void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026. NHL. All rights reserved.
That Nick affectionately calls Pebble, but no one else likes it. Partial breakaway
We're gonna miss that song when we're not gonna be playing it anymore in a few weeks from now when the season is over. But until then, we will enjoy every minute of that beautiful intro music. PBL League that is brought to us by Pazzi Italia. It is Zeppeli season, so I mean, pass by, have some best Zeppelis in Montreal. So, um, man, PBL, what can we say? Um, it's crunch time now. I mean, we are in the standings. We still have Vito P. It's tough to because we have Vito P that's at zero at first place. We had Joy 22 who's 36 points behind. Listener Bats who's 37. Bo Knows who's 42. David Hockey who's 55, and Listener Bats is 13 at 98. I feel 98 points. If you're 98 points or more, you need to start making different strategies. Like you can't go with the obvious because the top guys are going with those picks. So it'll be an interesting finish. But Vito P is holding strong up top in the first standings. Last week, our first week back, Parmigiana had so far because there's still games playing on. But so far, Parmigiana has the most fantasy points with 136 points, and Allegrazzi has 132 points. But Vito P is right there at 128 points. So Parmigiana, I mean, he went with a Bedard, Celebrini, Kyle Connor, Jason Robertson, Matt Boldy, Natchez, Hudson, Schaefer. I mean, whoever got Schaefer on their team this week, basically everybody, they've got a good turnout with him. And his goalie is Wedgwood in nets. So for this week, I mean, for people to try to catch up to the top to Vito P, I mean, this is the information we're going to give you. There are a lot of teams playing 4 games. We have Anaheim, we have Boston, we have Buffalo, we have Carolina, we have Colorado, we have Columbus, we have Dallas, we have Detroit, we have Nashville, we have the Devils, we have Pittsburgh, we have Tampa Bay, Toronto Maple Leafs, Vancouver, and Vegas. If we go with strength of schedules, meaning which ones have the strongest schedule, which ones are playing weaker teams, Carolina has the best strength of schedule. Then it ends up with Dallas, Anaheim, Vegas, Detroit, Colorado. So, I mean, guys, I'm not to put a downer on our season, but I'm pretty sure we're out of this. Out of this in PBL. But what's your strategy this week, or what strategies do you suggest to the ones who are still fighting for that the top 3 spots over there? Junior, I'm gonna go with you first.
So I'm not changing my strategy so much because I think especially now that there's going to be like a lot of teams are going to be playing 4 games. I think the rosters will be diverse. For one team, I pretty much went with Anaheim. I like Carlson, Cutter, Gauthier, and Lacombe. They're playing 4 games. They're scoring a lot of goals, so hopefully that trend continues. I focused on them, and I took Brandon Boosie, who's going to probably play 3 games this week as my goalie there. And then on the other team, I really like Dallas. Like you said, Dallas has an easy schedule, so I went with Ottinger, Wyatt Johnston, and I also took Jason Robertson. So they've been hot this week. I hope that carries over as well. But in terms of, I don't know if I would change the strategy necessarily, but obviously, like, because what happens is, let's say you suspect that everybody's going to take Celebrini and you don't, and you go with, let's say, Leo Carlson. If Leo Carlson doesn't get the points Celebrini got, then you're just setting yourself back even more. I think where the change needs to be is the other picks, the not so popular picks, because you can't have them all the same. So I'm thinking more like those picks need to stay the same. Change the other ones.
Nick?
Maybe your goalies in particular.
I went out and I added Leo Carlson, and now I'm regretting it after listening to co-host Junior here. But yeah, I added Leo Carlson along with Celebrini. Cutter Gauthier has been a staple. He's been great. But you know what I realized is that if you could get 2 cheap defensemen, like a Schaefer, like a Radish, like a Lane Hudson, pick your poison depending on how many games they play that week. This week I went with Gossesbear and Radish.
Oh, good. Gossesbear had a good week.
Gossesbear had a good week. He's been killing it. Toronto has not been killing it, but I still went with Nylander. Like, I spend more money on my wingers, and I keep the low money for my defensemen and my centers, who seem to be killing it anyways, even with low salaries. And then I went with Joseph Wool for goaltending this week. But Carolina, I thought, had the easiest schedule. They're playing some really bad teams this week. So that's another team to look at moving forward, and that's why Gossesbear, I think, is my lock of the week.
Oh, nice. I like that. Lock of the week.
Under
pressure.
So this is some interesting information that our listeners should know. Anaheim does have 4 games. They're against 3 playoff teams: Colorado, Montreal, Islanders, and St. Louis. But the advantage Anaheim has this week is that is a 4-game homestand that they have. So they're playing at home. Now, a goalie people could be interested in is John Gibson, because Detroit plays 4 times, but not back-to-back this week. So he can easily get in 4 games this week just because Detroit's still fighting for a playoff spot, is in the playoff spot and wants to keep that. So they might just roll with Gibson, especially if one of these games, like they have Nashville, Vegas, Florida, New Jersey. So right now, Vegas is the only playoff team they're playing. The other 3 are not in the playoff. So Gibson could be a good pick as a goalie. On my team, I put him as one of my teams just in case by chance he plays 4 games. It's 4 games from your goalies, which is very rare in this league. And Carolina, Nick, like you said, they do have an easy schedule. The problem is they're on a 4-game away stand. So they're playing in Seattle, in Vancouver, and then Edmonton, Calgary back-to-back, which is never easy. So that's my only worry with Carolina, is that they're on the road. But besides that, I mean, you have to look at what teams you're comfortable with. Some teams have a tough schedule. I mean, I was looking at one team. Oh man, who was it? Well, even Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is playing Minnesota, Winnipeg Jets. Okay, Toronto, no, and then Buffalo's 3 playoff teams, 2 playoff teams, and Winnipeg and Toronto aren't. So it's going to be very interesting. And try not to avoid the teams that are playing 3 games, because there are some good quality players you can get in some of these games. I mean, Chicago's playing Winnipeg, Vancouver, Dallas. That could be, it's not too much of a tough schedule. Montreal is playing San Jose, Anaheim, and the Kings, which also there is a 2 very wide open teams where scoring is is the main factor in San Jose and Anaheim. Kings, it's more of a closed out, is more of a defensive team that they're playing. So it's going to be a very interesting week. And I think after this week, we'll know exactly who's still in contention for that title and who's not. And then we'll talk about it from there.
I think another thing to keep in mind when making your picks for this week is stay away from the players that are rumored to be traded. I'm thinking Elias Pettersson, which unlikely, but Robert Thomas, Ryan O'Reilly, guys that are sometimes people select to put in their lineups. They might sit out for injury purposes, not to be injured before trading, and so on and so forth. So if you start seeing names out there before 7 p.m., I would think twice before starting someone who's rumored to be traded.
I hope that's good information for our listeners, because I hope this whole episode was good information for our listeners, to be honest with you, because it was a good episode, I find. Very, very informative.
Nick,
as always,
why did your wife knock on the fridge door?
Why?
In case the salad was dressing.
I find like these aren't even dad jokes. These are like word jumbles.
No, they're dad jokes. They're all dad jokes.
Well, we'll make sure that our midweek episode is well dressed for you guys. Yeah, was that good?
Look at you. Have a good night, peeps.
Take care.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.